Hey guys, Asher again at Flight Sim Reviews, and today I'm going to do my second part of my review on Microsoft's newest flight simulator title, simply known as Flight. This review will cover a basic takeoff and flight portions, as well as my thoughts and pros and cons of the sim at this time. And I hope it gives you a good look at if it's something that's worth your time, and if it's not, that will be up for you to decide. So anyways, let's get started, guys. Currently, I'm actually in a view that is new to flight. I'm actually standing outside the aircraft, and yes, I know, I'm standing. I'm actually walking on the water, which I think is probably a bug or just an oversight on the developer's part. This is much cooler when you're actually at an airport. You know, it's kind of cool because you can kind of walk around the airport and see what's there. Unfortunately, it's kind of strange when you're just walking on the water, and you can actually kind of hear your footsteps. So anyways, nothing against it. It's just an oversight, but it's kind of cool that you can get out now and walk around the aircraft and kind of, you know, come in, zoom out, you know, stand where you want. So anyways, guys, if you tap E, that will put you into the cockpit. So here we are in the cockpit of the Icon A5, which is one of the aircraft that's included with this simulator title. And overall, I'd say it looks really good, guys. This aircraft looks a lot better than any of the stock aircraft in FSX by a long ways. Of course, we were many years down the road from that, but it does look really good, guys. I mean, this really looks as good as some of the add-on stuff that's a couple years old. So that's really a great sign of the potential that add-on products may have in this sim if the aircraft looked this great out of the box. That's really a promising sign. Most everything's functional in the cockpit. So let me show you through a quick walkthrough of a startup what is and what isn't, and what you can expect. So one cool new feature of Flight is if you tap Q, you can go ahead and bring up your checklist for your aircraft, which is really slick, guys. And we'll go to, say, normal procedures and engine start. It's pretty slick, guys. It will actually walk you through setting the aircraft up, and once you make these parameters correct, the first one's correct, my throttle's at 0. Next I would be turning my battery master on. And as you can see, you get this little green indicator that shows exactly what you need to do. There's no guessing of how to turn the master battery on. So the Icon A5, of course, is a pretty simple aircraft as far as controls go in startup, but it is neat that they give you all your checklists. You also have the ability to automate your checklists and have the sim show you what it's doing and go through it by itself. So if you feel like, oh, I'm confused or I'm stuck, you can just tap 1 and it already does it for you. So pretty slick, nice touch there for guys that want to follow checklists. I usually do on my airliners. On a littler aircraft like this, I usually don't bother, but that's just me. It's cool that they included that, so props to Microsoft on that. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a quick look around the cockpit. It looks really good. Again, the textures in that are top-notch. Unfortunately, none of this stuff is functional. This looks like how you open the canopy and fold the wings. This is a wing lock. The wings actually fold on this aircraft. And circuit breakers, they all obviously don't work, which is like FSX. It'd be cool if somebody would finally add that, where, you know, if you have an electrical problem, the circuit breaker pops. That'd be kind of cool. But anyways, that's wishful thinking at this point. Let's go ahead and start up the aircraft. So we're first going to turn on the master battery, and of course we'll see our fuel come up. And we have a little icon symbol on the GPS. Next we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the interior lights and the exterior lights. This actually is a switch to fold the wings, and unfortunately it is non-functional. And go ahead and turn on the avionics. I know that's not correct per checklist, but this is, again, more of a casual sim, so I'm not going to beat myself up over correct procedure. Anyways, just go ahead and turn the key, and this is a fuel injected aircraft, so it just starts right up, no mixture. We have a RPM rise, and we have oil pressure. So what's kind of neat is if you hold over the instruments as well, you'll get the actual numbers that they're showing. The Icon A5 looks a little different to you guys that are more used to general aviation aircraft, of course. It's missing an artificial horizon, as well as some other instruments that you may be used to. We do have an angle of attack indicator on this aircraft, which is pretty slick. That's usually something you don't see on general aviation aircraft. But it's cool, and actually the needle looks like the wing cord, so that's pretty slick. It's not just a standard needle there. You got airspeed, altitude. As far as your pressure goes, guys, there's no ATIS or anything like that in flight yet, so I just leave it at 29 or 9 or 2, so hopefully that's correct. I'm not doing any IFR in this sim. Fuel, oil temp, oil pressure, cylinder head temperature, and RPM, of course. Moving over to the center console, we can go ahead and turn on the map and do a declutter. This is pretty much the GPS in flight, guys. You can see VORs and waypoints and airports. It's pretty bare bones, which is pretty standard for flight simulator titles. You're never going to see, I don't think, Reality XP type GPS in this sim. So it's pretty good. I think it's on par. Maybe a little less functional than the stock one in FSX. You're definitely not going to be able to put a flight plan into it on this aircraft. So the radios are here, obviously a nav and a transponder. The transponder actually reports altitude and shows it in the window, but you can't adjust the frequency or turn it on or off, so it is what it is. None of this is functional, but it will show altitude. And the radios work. You can flip-flop the channels, but that is the extent of it. And you're not going to hear anybody on the radios because there is no traffic in flight. It's just you unless you're in multiplayer. Landing gear switch, and I already showed you these. The trim wheel actually works here, take off, up, down, and the climate controls are non-functional. Of course you have your throttle and your stick. Everything's really smooth, guys. Pretty impressed. So anyways, let's just do a quick takeoff here. I'm going to give her some throttle, and we'll go ahead and get going here. One other thing I'd like to point out about flight is the sound package is really good, guys. I've really been impressed with the sound package on the simulator, especially with this aircraft. It's pretty impressive that you can actually hear like the water hitting the hull, and once you get up above 40 knots here, you can kind of hear it bouncing on the water, skipping on the waves. Just really a nice touch. Just some pretty cool stuff, and actually it sticks to the water pretty good. Until you get it off, and then there it's off. But until you get it off, it's pretty stuck on the water. You gotta give it quite a bit of positive elevator to get it unstuck. Anyways, I'm just gonna climb out here at about 70 knots and give you a look around here. So far, guys, I've been pretty impressed with flight. It's definitely geared more to the casual crowd, but to me, I really feel like that's important, and I'm a hardcore sim guy, always have been. I've been a hardcore sim guy for about 15 years now. I don't know if you can say it's been that long, but you know, back then I was flying Red Baron and Blue Max on my IBM PS2 with a 8 megabyte hard drive, you know, which was a massive upgrade from a 4 megabyte hard drive. So anyways, I'm sure just the textures on this aircraft would have been 4 or 5 of my hard drives back then. Anyways, that being said, guys, I think we need the casual hook to get some new guys in the flight simulator world. I think one of the things that really gets overlooked with Flight Simulator is that Flight Simulator 2000 Professional, when it came out in 2000, outsold all video games combined. That's just outrageous. I mean, that's like, you know, Call of Duty type performance out of a flight sim. And, you know, today people look at flight sims like this, you know, kind of little niche, you know, group of gamers or of guys. But really, you know, they look at us like we all have sim pits and, you know, have no lives, but, or should be real pilots, you know. And, you know, to each his own, but it's, you know, I think that speaks a lot with how small the flight simulator community has become. It's really gotten small, guys. There's still a lot of us around. A lot of forums out there, AvSim, other ones like that. They're very active, but to say that there are numbers or anything like they used to be, it's not even close. So I'm hoping that a more casual title like Flight will get some fresh blood into the flight simulator world, guys. It certainly can't hurt. Right now with Flight, guys, I really feel like it's a very good title. It's a very good building block to go on. I don't think I can stress enough, FSX is old, and I love it to death. I'll be flying FSX for many years to come, but even with Windows 8, some of the architecture is not going to play well in Windows 8 with FSX. It may get to the point where we're going to have to emulate NT kernel to be able to run FSX or even prior stuff. So it's not. I hope that the add-on guys and that Microsoft works with them to get a lot of add-ons with this aircraft. So, with this simulator. We really need it in the flight sim world, and since it's a newer program, the code will be up to snuff for Windows 8 and so on. So FSX has always kind of been a resource hog. I'm always kind of comparing Flight to FSX because it's pretty much the current standard for you guys that fly flight sim. FSX is a resource hog, and there's just no way around that. This simulator definitely is not. It takes some power to run. I've got a pretty beefy system, and I have it maxed out. But that being said, FSX wouldn't run on the best PCs you could possibly buy when it came out. So that's saying a lot that this simulator is already running good on current hardware. So that's really promising, guys. It was really disappointing in FSX to find out that you had bought it and your computer was not capable of running it, and you continue to buy machines, if you're like me, every couple of years only to find out, wow, you weren't gaining much. So even now, it's just been in the last year or so that we've had processors that can really crush FSX, and that's just ridiculous, guys. I mean, there's no excuse for that in my opinion, that 5-6 years later down the road you can finally play it at full settings. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Anyways, the game looks really good, guys. The views are a little different in Flight. I'll show them to you real quick. If you hit F9, you can get a chase view, and there's no moving it around in chase view. There's no panning the camera. Actually, that was F8. F9 puts you in the cockpit. F10 gives you a flyby view. And F11 gives you your free look view that you're probably more used to that you use in FSX. You'll also notice that my pilot lines up with the pilot I choose in my profile in the game. Those do change if you care about that. I really didn't mind when there weren't pilots in the cockpits before. Anyways, that being said, the game runs really well, guys. Really smooth. As far as the GPS, you can go ahead and zoom in on it again. There is a turn coordinator on it that is functional. But again, very limited functionality there. I just want to show you guys the turn coordinator. My general thoughts on Flight is it's awesome. I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack for saying that, but I feel it's a really good stepping stone and a really good start to a new flight simulator. FSX was nothing special when it came out, guys. I don't know how to say it, but if any of you guys came from FS 2004, when FSX came out, I mean, it was like, hated on again. It was, nobody could run it. The airplanes out of the box were garbage. It just wasn't a very good product, and most of us continued to play FS 2004 for years until FSX had some payware or some just freeware add-ons, whichever way you guys like to go in the add-on world. Until we got some scenery and some, aircraft, it was really lame. So Flight, I'd say, actually has a hand up because the airplanes aren't too bad. This is the Icon. I have the Stearman and the Maul as well. I just wanted to show you this one because it's quick and easy. It's kind of slick that it's set up more like a car instrument panel, but it's kind of different to have that in an aircraft, especially where you don't have an artificial horizon. But it's really a simple aircraft to get up and go with. You don't have to be, diving through switches and buttons and maps and all that sort of thing. But I would definitely say that the aircraft are a lot better than anything FSX launched with as far as quality. I have no problems hopping in flight, and just flying around for 30 minutes, maybe doing a mission just for the fun of it, and hey, maybe then I hop in FSX and do a long haul in an MD-11 or something. But Flight as a VFR title, as a fun, casual title to get people into the flight simulators, is definitely a solid product right now. There's no question. I really don't have any qualms about it, guys. It is what it is. I understand a lot of the disappointment from the community. One of the things that's blatantly obvious I want to show you guys is the clouds. The weather looks really good. I mean, it looks kind of like Rex, not that good, but it looks pretty dang good. But if you get just at the right angle, you can actually see that the clouds are all totally copy and pasted. I don't know if I can show you that angle right now, guys. You got to be just right, but if you're right on the correct plane, it's almost like a cornfield if you look down it, guys. There, actually you can see it right here, guys. You can see that the cloud texture, or however they're doing the volumetric clouds here, are just totally a copy and paste. This is a copy and paste, and this whole mass is a copy and paste. That's pretty disappointing, guys. It took me all of 10 minutes in the sim to notice that the clouds were totally copy and pasted over the environment. As far as the ground textures look great. There's lots of trees, there's lots of buildings, a lot more than you'll see in FSX, really, even with auto gen on. So the ground looks pretty good, guys. I wouldn't say it's DCS quality ground, but like something like A10 or K50, but it looks good for flight sim, definitely. I'm not disappointed. The volcanoes are pretty sweet. They're pretty charred on the top of them, as you would expect. One of the disappointing things with flight is I was really hoping they would add have a helicopter. I remember going to Hawaii, and one of the cool things I got to do while I was there was take a helicopter tour up to the active volcano on this big island here, and it was pretty cool because you could see the magma coming out of it slowly, and it's pretty sweet. It was my first helicopter ride ever, and I was younger then, and it's pretty awesome. So personally, I would have liked a helicopter out of the box in flight. Hawaii just kind of seems like a sweet place to have a helicopter. Go check out the volcanoes, go land in different places, stuff like that. So just having fixed wing aircraft to me is disappointing. That being said, I can't speak to how flight is with helicopters because nobody knows yet. FSX is pretty disappointing as far as realism, such as a counter rotation, a retreating blade stall, things of that nature on helicopters. It was really not very good at simulating accurate helicopter flight physics whatsoever. So there are no whirlybirds in flight, so I can't speak to the physics with helicopters. I can speak to the physics with the aircraft. They're actually pretty good, guys. The crosswind works realistically. I would say it's not on par with some of the weather add-ons for FSX, but it's very good. It's believable weather. If you're flying in wind or buffeting, the little light aircraft kind of get pushed around and kind of bounce along. So that's pretty realistic. Sometimes in FSX, even if you're in like a Cessna 150, and in a windstorm, you thought, the wind wasn't blowing, which was totally unrealistic. So, especially shooting approaches with crosswinds in FSX, that's pretty, it's not very realistic again, especially if you start to crab. All that being said, guys, I think Flight, and I've said it before, is a very solid title. I definitely know it won't wow any hardcore guys such as myself, but just as a sim to get people up and running, get casual guys into the sim world, and possibly be a new platform for add-on aircraft from people like PMDG, Captain Sim, EagleSoft, those guys, and all you other guys. I just really hope Microsoft works with you guys to get some add-on aircraft in this title. because it definitely needs it if it's going to have staying power, especially with the hardcore sim guys. And I think that's mostly who's left in the flight simulator community. I don't think there's too many of the casual guys left that didn't find some other games that were funner after playing flight sims for 10 years. So anyways, guys, this has been my look at Flight. I hope it gave you a good look at a quick startup, look around the A5, look around the terrain. You can see it running on my computer here. It runs really well. A lot of things missing, a lot of things I feel need to be added, but I do think it could be a very stable and good platform to build on for Microsoft and for add-on aircraft. I think it's a solid title. I've definitely been disappointed by some things, but I've definitely been impressed with others, such as just how good some of the aircraft are out of the box, and how good it runs. It's really not a resource hog, guys. It's totally free. You can go to Microsoft's website and get it. Download it. It's only a couple gig. It's not real big. Won't take very long to install. And of course, if you get a gamer tag, you get a free aircraft and some other stuff. So that's probably worth it if you want to give it a try. I hope this gave you a good look at Flight. Maybe I saved you some bandwidth not downloading it. I hope that's not the case. I hope you give it a try for yourself. I think some of the flack it's been getting in forums and that is kind of unjustified. I think you have to come into Flight with realistic expectations, and I think a lot of guys felt like, it was just going to be, blow away FSX, and that Microsoft never said that out of the box. Never said that. They definitely said it was going to be a more casual sim, and never hinted that the fact it was going to be the new, groundbreaking realism simulator. I think the foundation is very solid in the sim to be built upon, and I think it's a great start for a new flight simulator title, guys. At this point in time, guys, I feel that this title is worthy of 4 out of 5 wings from Flight Sim Reviews. I hope you guys stay tuned for more Flight Sim Reviews. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Feel free to leave me your thoughts in the comments, and I hope you stay tuned for more Flight Sim Reviews, guys. Thanks again.